us about your lineup.
It'll be a game time decision on a couple guys, so everything's up in the air.
Announcement on the starting goaltender this evening.
We'll wait till warm up as well.
What do you expect from the Islanders?
They don't give you much. They've been in overtime 3 games in a row, obviously going through what we went through with COVID. They're at the end of it now, some injuries. But they've got guys that have won. They're a shot away from going to the Stanley Cup Finals last year and possibly winning the whole thing. So they've had their tough times, but they know how to win. So much like any other team in this league, you have to be ready.
Barry Trotz said today that he consulted you when they were on their break. Just what did you try to pass along to him as far as knowledge?
Well, just, obviously coaches talk in the league, and Barry's one of those guys that I have a lot of respect for. Been around a long time, coach an expansion team from the bottom, won a Stanley Cup, has, been a lot of playoff series. And it's his first experience with COVID, so it's, and what kind to expect from the guys coming out of COVID. Because I think, unlike some injuries, when a guy's hurt for a week or two, you assume that they're just going to jump right back. That's not the case. It's an all-new situation. Each player's different, so, you got to be a little more patient with some guys that had worse symptoms. But eventually, the fog does clear, and we feel we're there now.
Just as far as you complete a stretch here of 5 games in 7 days with 2 back-to-backs. Is that highly unusual at this level? I mean,
yeah, it doesn't happen very often, but because of being shut down, you got to force a game in there, and that changes everything. 4 and 7's very doable. 5 and 7 with 2 back-to-backs and travel makes it hard. But you know what? It's mental. There's a lot of hard things out there. There's a lot of hard things in the world. This isn't one of them. So we've got 1 game to play. Day off tomorrow. We got nothing to save it for, so we'll be ready tonight.
You mentioned this a little bit last night, that Thomas Chabot has kind of really elevated his game. I know he doesn't have any goals, but in your time here, is this the most complete 200-foot game you've seen out of Thomas Chabot?
For sure. It's the first time he's playing against the other team's top lines regularly and keeping them off the board. Well, and part of it, too, let's be fair, he's playing with what I think is starting to become a real number 1 line that's helping him. To be fair to Thomas, there's a lot of nights where he was fighting a lot of battles by himself early on, when I got here. So he's getting a lot more help. He's buying in a lot more defensively. He's competing really hard, and he's giving us a chance to win every night.
And last night, I think 2 times in the 3-on-3, you put out a 3-forward group. Like the 2 times Thomas came out, I think Connor Brown went on. Is that something you're willing to? I don't know that you've done that before, and maybe I'm wrong, but is that something you're willing to maybe play with a little bit more?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we're way back in the standings. We need every point we can. We're going to scratch and claw, and we wouldn't have right now the prototypical flat-out offensive defenseman, and then you could put a Lassie Thompson or Zub out there, but you're putting him in a tough spot too. I mean, it's a lot of pressure for a 20-year-old kid to go out there with the game on the line against the other team's best players. So 3-on-3, it's a different game completely. It's not something, that's ever going to happen in real playoffs. But I feel our players are responsible enough, especially a guy like Connor Brown, can go out there and play that position.
Brady's on a real hot streak right now, and I'm just curious how that's maybe bolstered his leadership ability after being named captain.
I think the biggest thing for Brady is certainly he's got his legs under him now after missing training camp. That's big. But his commitment to defense, his shift length, his overall game is just faster, more north-south, business-like, really. We've talked plenty about, some of the top lines in the league and what they look like. After watching Kopitar the other night, Bergeron, these guys, they just do the same things every night, and they check for their chances. And right now that line's checking for their chances, and when you make a mistake, they hem you in and they make you pay. So Brady's a huge part of that.
How important is the start tonight? Obviously, coming off a back-to-back while the Islanders have been waiting on you guys.
Well, the start's huge for us, but the finishes as well. I mean, you've got to, coaches always say tire better after one, and that's essentially what you're looking at here with a team that's sitting waiting for us. They've been here for in their beds while we're playing last night. So if you can get tired better after one, you're in a really good spot.
How impressive to see Chara play at 44. Did you ever play against him?
Yeah, I played against him in the minors. He was in Lowell all way back when I was in St. John's, and it is impressive. I just seen him in the hallway. It's impressive what kind of physical shape he continues to be in at 44. How his compete level's still there, his training. I talked to their assistant coach, Jimmy Hiller, that I was with in Toronto, and just how much he puts into his training, his eating, everything that goes with it. That's the only way you're going to continue to play at that age.
Coaching change in Philly and Vancouver this week. Is that a reminder of how tough the business is for coaches?
It is, but all you can do is control what you do. Do your best. Try and win every single game. Every situation's different. And coaches are hired to be fired, and it's a terrible thing for their families, and I don't, their friends, families, kids, especially kids are in school, you got to move, all those things that go with it. You pick up and you go to the next city and you do your best. So, for a guy like myself, all I can do is do my best every single day and try and give us the best chance to win.
Norris is now 82 games into his career. I know that's over parts of 3 seasons, but where do you think he's at? Just, I guess, 1 season's worth of games under his belt.
Well, he's had highs and lows, but the biggest thing he was thrown in trial by fire. With injuries, he was forced to be essentially our matchup guy, our number one guy, all these things. Sometimes that can work against you. Sometimes it can spark you to be the best, and I think that's what it's done for him. He's really competitive. He's able to be honest about his game, and obviously we're real lucky to have him, and he's going to be a good player here for a long time.
Weird question, but I noticed you've got purple socks on with hearts, and I'm wondering how long you've been wearing those.
I'm really superstitious. I'm sticking with that since we got on the streak. So we're going to go with them again. And obviously, hockey fights cancer today. It goes with it near and dear. Lost my father to cancer, 9 years ago now with leukemia. Lots of friends. Lost a real good friend, 3-4 years ago from it. So today's a special day. Everyone's been touched with cancer in different parts of their life, but when it hits your immediate family and you watch what it does, you can just hope that there's a cure one day.